Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and yes, we are in fact leaving. I'll explain everything in today's video. With that being said, let's just get right into it. I like to just get straight to the point in my videos, and so we finally found a property, we purchased it, and we are mostly moved over to the new house. And so that means the house that we have been living at, the house you guys have seen in some of the videos, is no longer going to be a part of the channel. So I figured in today's video I'd explain why we moved and then also give you guys a tour of the old property, because this will be the last time you guys will see it, and I don't think I ever gave you guys a really good tour of the place anyways. So yeah, let's just start with the tour and then get into the reasons. Well, the first part of the tour is the chicken coop. They are chilling right now. I usually let them out a little bit later in the day when it's not so hot and boiling outside. But this thing has been such a cool part of this property and such a cool thing to have. I have been eating about 8 eggs every single day for, I don't know, the last 6 months, maybe 12 months at this point, and it's been awesome. So we will be taking these little guys with us. We haven't built a new coop on the new property yet. We are in the process of doing that. Once we do that, we will get them officially moved over, but that's the first cool thing. Now, I am definitely going to miss this view right here. This is probably one of the best views in this particular town in Utah. The previous owner put up this fence. It's literally just for aesthetic purposes because we actually own this whole ridge here with the grass and the dirt, and so this is not like a property line fence, but just, yeah, you feel like you're kind of like in a different world. And so this is one of the coolest parts, in my opinion, about this property. And these cottonwoods that grew here on the other side are pretty cool. And once that little pine tree there gets a little bit bigger, that'll also kind of add some fun to it. And there's also another, you can see there, a little pine tree as well out in the field. And then as for the rest of the yard, it's actually really beautifully done. You guys have seen certain parts of it. Like you can see some of it in the background right here. But what I do want to say is the yard looks a lot better than it did a couple of months ago. So I've gotten a lot of comments talking about how the yard needs quote unquote work when I do reviews on the front yard. And what's basically happened over the last couple of years is we have had a broken / malfunctioning sprinkler system. We had someone come out and fix it last year. Turns out they didn't do a very good job with fixing it because, yeah, it's definitely in rough shape. But this year we had someone come out again and fix it. It's actually Doug that does all the vinyl wraps and everything for the channel. And we've got like the system 90% functioning. We've got another 10% that we still have to fix. But the yard's finally starting to come back. Like there was a point where pretty much everything was dead, but now we've got, I mean, still a lot of parts are definitely dead and need to come back, but it's doing a lot better than it was. Now, I'm not going to open up the windows or the blinds or anything. I know that would help out with the lighting, but this is just for a YouTube video. I'm not trying to sell this or anything like that. Anyways, I want to show this area because this has been a really cool thing. We actually have one of these in our new house too, this like kind of lighting display. I just think it's cool to have over, like a table was under there, by the way. But something that's really cool is this. So this black wall was used for many YouTube videos because it's just a nice backdrop, and a lot of people thought that I had like some fancy studio, and literally all I would do is just set my camera on the ledge here and then stand awkwardly on like 2 different steps and then just film with the black wall background. It works. I always do things the cheap way. My office actually used to be back there. I'll show you guys the office that I switched to later on. But anyways, the upstairs of this house isn't too crazy. The coolest thing I think is in the master bedroom. It has a walkout and it's to the backyard. And yes, I know I need to clean the deck. There used to be a hot tub there. If you're wondering why the deck has 2 different colors on it, we got rid of the hot tub because it was broken. Gonna get the deck restained. Houses, they're always a work in progress. But yeah, this is probably the coolest room upstairs, just the walkout and the view you get. But the coolest part of the house, in my opinion, like just entire area, is the basement. And this is actually where John Jenks was living for a while. And this is, in my opinion, it's not like a huge, crazy basement like what you see in some Utah houses where people will have like a basketball court and all that crazy stuff. I'm far more modest than that, but it's just a really well laid out basement. Now this basement's really cool because you have this like kitchen area right here. So there's a kitchen upstairs and downstairs, which is always a nice thing to have. And then you have this like living room area. I know, it'd be such a perfect bro cave, and that was kind of a thought initially, but anyways, my favorite part is the view, and of course the door's locked, so you gotta unlock it. Out the basement, like this is the view as you walk out. You've got these like steps that I need to sweep, but anyways, there's always something to do with houses. There's always something to do. You just have like the view of the trees. You guys can't really see it too on the camera, but there's the mountains in the background as well. And so it's just such a beautiful view. And there's a lot of windows. I'm going to close this now so it doesn't let the heat in. There's a lot of windows here that you can open. And so the lighting down here is actually really good. It's one of the few basements I've been in that it doesn't feel like you're actually in a basement. Previous owner did a really good job with that. And the office. So this is where I moved the office to. And if you guys are running on the yoga ball, if you have a job where you have to sit down for more than, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes at a time, get one of these heavy duty yoga balls. This one just happens to be pink because I don't know why, my wife ordered it. Anyways, if you use this instead of a chair, you'll become physically stronger, like by a lot. And you won't have any back pain, no hip pain, no knee pain, none of that. It gets rid of all of that. I don't care how fancy your office chair is, it is not going to be as good as a yoga ball. Your legs will be sore for like the first month. Just do it. Anyways, I love this office room because of this thing here. You kind of feel like you're in a little nature place. Now, normally I am not the type of person to let ivy grow like this. It is very destructive. But this area right here is sloped down towards the house. It's the only area on the property that slopes towards the house, which means that there could be a flood risk. Knock on wood, which we'll do that right now. We have not had any issues, and I think the reason we haven't had any issues is because of all of the ivy. It's super, super, super water intensive. Like, it sucks the ground dry, and so I'm gonna leave it there because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now I want to quickly explain why we decided to move. So if you guys have been following the channel, you know that my wife and I have been looking to get a little bit more acreage. This current property sits on half an acre that has been developed, roughly half an acre that's been developed. And then it has another almost, it's not quite, it's like, I think it's like 0.4 of an acre that is undeveloped. Again, it's that privacy ridge. And so we could do quite a bit with this land in terms of, you know, it has animal rights, so we could do more chickens and we can grow fruit trees and all of that. But it's really not enough space to go larger than some chickens and some fruit trees. And so the property that we purchased is bigger when it comes to land compared to this property. And so that's the first big reason, is we just simply wanted more land. And there are, of course, more reasons. Now, a lot of those reasons have popped up over the last month because I've been ping-ponging between both of the houses. I spent a lot of time in the old house trying to get it ready. And then, you know, I'm trying to live in the new house as much as possible because, well, we're moving there, right? And it feels like I'm going between two different worlds. It really does feel that way. So the new house, right, it's got that obviously country feel because we've got bigger lots out there, and it's still has a lot of farmland, for example, as well. This area used to have farmland, not so much anymore. And so it's like going from normal suburban Utah to more country Utah. And let me tell you, country Utah, in my personal opinion, is so much nicer, so much better than suburban Utah. I've lived in suburban Utah my entire life, and it's one of those things where you don't realize how toxic the relationship is until you leave the relationship. So suburban Utah is like keeping up with the Jones, but to the absolute max. Everyone is always talking about like who has the nicest yard, who has the nicest cars, who has the biggest house, who makes the most money. Like, again, I understand that a lot of places in the US are like that, but Utah seems to be like the extreme version of that, suburban Utah to be exact. Whereas once you go out into the more country areas of Utah, the more rural areas of Utah, it's completely different. So, for example, if I just bump into a random neighbor here in where we live right now, they're probably gonna be like, hey, how's the business doing? How's this doing? How's it, right? It's gonna be kind of one of those conversations. Whereas I bumped into a few of the neighbors at the new place, and every single time we have a conversation, it feels like a genuine conversation, and there is no talk about money whatsoever. Like, obviously, some people have asked what I do for a living because, you know, when they see younger people, and you guys will understand when you see the property, when they see younger people in a property like that, they're always going to have questions. But most of the conversations have just been about completely random stuff. Like one of the neighbors I met, for example, has 22 kids. So we had a conversation about how he ended up with 22 kids. Craziness. And by the way, welcome to Utah. There are people in Utah that have that kind of stuff. But it's just a different pace. It's a different world. And so I've just realized that I would much rather be in that world than the world that I have spent pretty much my whole life in. That's gonna sum things up for today's video. I'm really excited to show you guys the new property. Now, I don't know when we're gonna be filming the grand reveal of the new property, so just expect plenty of car reviews in the near future and expect that I'll eventually get that video to you guys. Don't hold your breath. We'll see you.